Happy 2024, everybody. If you have been paying attention to the Ocean City housing market and all the updates I've been putting out in December, you probably know most of what's coming, but there are a few things that have definitely changed since my last video. And if you haven't, that's okay. I want to catch you up here in the January market update where we're going to go through everything that happened in December, as well as forecast a little bit out into what we expect over the first few months of the year. There are a few big things that definitely happened over the month of December if you haven't been paying attention. And the biggest really has been the change in mortgage rates. Through the fall, they have been going up, 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 peaked at around 8.5% for a second home loan. Now we're sitting here at about 6.5% at many of the local lenders. Some you may be able to even get a hair better, some will be a hair worse, but generally speaking, substantially better from where we are or where we were about 2 months ago. And that's gotten people very, very excited. So far in the first week in January, I've gotten a whole lot more calls, a whole lot more people coming down to look at properties than has happened in years past in that first week of January. So it's safe to say that I think we're in for a pretty fast-paced spring market. Not that you, if you're looking to buy, want that. Not that I really want that as an agent running all over town to help people, but that's what we have, and we have to face reality if we want to get you to the finish line of what your goal is, what you're looking to do here in Ocean City. Inventory wise, I had predicted that we would end about 220 when we started the new year. Now, there's a pretty stark difference. I want to explain real quick at the end of December versus January 1st. End of December, that's about where we should have been, about 230 homes based off of history, based off of trends. We see a big drop off of listings that expire come the new year. Some of those come back on, some of them don't. And I had predicted that we would start the year at about 220 homes. Here we are on January 6th, sitting at 217. So heading not in the best of directions. And we'll talk about what to expect with inventory coming up here in a bit. Days on market stable as they have been for quite a while now. Prices, though, they came down a hair for condos. There were some lower priced ones than normal, different distribution than we normally see. So I think there's a little bit of a blip, even though it's still up 10% year over year. I think it's going to pick up a little bit going into next month. Single family homes continue to trend downward. We were at 5% decrease year over year as of last month. Now we're at 7%. So you'll see in a chart here, I'll point out the peak of what we saw for home prices, and I'll talk a little bit about why that happened and why you shouldn't expect to now get a 7 to 10% discount on what the asking prices are out there. It's a big difference. So I want to make sure that you're crystal clear before you run out there with some bad expectations. So new listing wise, this is about what we expected, right? Roughly 50, same as last year, similar as the year before, similar as the year before. And you keep going back. In December, we tend to have about 50 new listings, whether it's a slow market, fast market, normal market, whatever you want to call it. This is what we expected. So good news though, January, we should expect nearly double that if history is an indicator. Now, pending sales, very, very strong in the last 6 months of 2023, all beat the amount of the number of pending homes that went under contract in the last 6 months of 2022. So while the first half of the year started slower, it picked up steam to the point where the total number of homes that went under contract is only down 8% compared to last year. And projection wise, across the nation, they were expecting somewhere around a 20% decrease in number of homes going under contract. We saw half of that. So all things considered, the market did not end up being as bad and as painful as was expected with recessions and mortgage rates and everything else going on. Closed sales, another pretty solid month, low compared to past Decembers, but that's okay. Still strong, all things considered. Now, here in the next chart, I want to point out exactly what happened with the prices with single family homes. So months of inventory were still below 6 months. This is a seller's market, all things considered, and trending more so in that direction as the amount of inventory continues to drop. We were floating in the mid 60s to low 70s for quite a few months there. Now we're under 60. That could change, right? When you're talking about 60 homes, it doesn't take a whole lot plus or minus to make an impact there, but the demand is still there. Now, to talk a little bit more on this, so we can see starting really back in October of 2022, we took a big spike and we stayed high there for a while. A lot of that, for whatever reason, there were a lot of new construction homes that went under contract in 2021 or 2022 that were going to close at the end of 2022 and early 2023. It's just how the cycle worked. So we saw a lot of $3+ million homes, $2.5+ million homes that were closing on a consistent basis, which is well above what the average price point is when you take everything into consideration. So what we saw over the past 6 months is the opposite. As the market started to cool down a little and fewer people were buying homes in that price point, and there were more homes that were being sold, whether that was as teardowns or just as more standard single family homes that were going for under 2 million. So now we had that portion of the population heavily outweighing any of the more expensive new construction homes. And as a result, that's pulling the price point down. So as we continue to go forward over the next few months, we're going to see this really hover around that $1.5 million mark for two reasons. Number one, all of these average price points, if it was a higher one than normal, 1.8, 1.9, unless we achieve that again in the month that we're going to be analyzing, then you're going to see things decline. And the other thing, there was a very low month a few months back. It was under 1 million for the median price point. That's going to be holding us down a bit too. So, point being, if you're looking for a single family home, do not expect and don't worry that, oh my gosh, prices are coming down. Whether you're a seller thinking, oh no, I missed it, you didn't miss it, you're still fine. If you're a buyer thinking, oh, I get a discount if I wait a little bit longer, that's absolutely not the case. So, sometimes, again, data is helpful, but it's not everything, and the context really matters. So hopefully that makes sense there. And days on market, we're sitting pretty at about 55. So condos, it's a similar-ish story here. Still well under 6 months of inventory, still a seller's market as far as the data is concerned. Now, prices have leveled out here. And again, I think that has happened a few times in the past. And once again, context matters. So even if we have a below average median sale price in the month of January, and it's currently looking like it should be at about $1 million, it would take it down to around 750. That's what it would need to be, $750,000 for the median sale price in the month of January for this to go down based on how this, the calculation works. So that's not going to happen. So I anticipate that this is going to continue its upward trend as inventory continues to drop too. So days on market still very, very low, especially compared to historical norms. Now I want to talk about a few things in context with this being the start really of a new buying season. And even though it normally wouldn't be called the beginning of the spring market, I'm going to count it and start the clock now, just based on the activity that I'm seeing on the buyer side of things. So I want to talk about what to expect over the next 3 months. So from a mortgage rate standpoint, there's still some cuts expected this year. Will that drop rates lower? Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to say. A lot of this stuff gets priced in once the expectations happen. And the expectations came out in December when the Fed basically said, hey, I think we're done. I think we're done raising rates. And the forecasts are all for 3 cuts in the year of 2024, most of which are likely to happen in the second half. So I wouldn't anticipate over the next 3 months seeing a whole lot of wiggle room or a whole lot of change in mortgage rates. So don't make that a huge factor. Even if it's going to decrease, it's going to be a pretty mediocre amount, I think, maybe a quarter point at best. And if you find the home that's right for you, it's not worth losing it while trying to play games with mortgage rates for a quarter point. So we'll see where they end up, but I think by the end of the year, we should be very close to 6%. I don't know that we get under that. Some people are predicting that. However, I like to be a little on the conservative side. So I think 6% would be my expectation for where we end the year. Slow trickle down from now until then. Inventory wise, we saw a decrease, which is totally normal. Now, what I've seen over the past, again, 6 months, we've mirrored 2023 versus 2022 very closely. And even if we look back at 2019, the last time we had a normal market, mirrored those trends seasonality wise very closely. So that tells me, and I've been preaching this now for months, if not a year plus, I think we're in our new normal. We should not expect a big setback. We should not expect a huge spike again. I think we're pretty stable. So we should be able to look at 2023 almost as a roadmap of what to expect in terms of number of new listings, in terms of number of pendings, all that good stuff to help us understand what to see coming over the next few months, potentially over the entirety of 2024. But we'll take it 1 month at a time and adjust as needed. Now, price-wise, again, I just mentioned those earlier in those charts that some of the skewing happens just because of the method that I look at this stuff. I don't expect a whole lot of change up or down, but deal season's done. We had November, we had December where deals did happen, and I was very loud and clear about that. A couple buyers of mine got some great deals in that time frame, but that's over. The door has been closed. Now that we are a month-ish away from the beginning of the true spring market, sellers aren't going to budge. They're not going to, for saving 30 days of time, they're not going to give a discount. And any agent who is doing their duty to their client is going to tell them and advise them as such, because there's no need for that. With inventory going down, with days on market staying down, with everything still humming. It would be a disservice for them to unnecessarily take a discount. So if you're looking to buy, I need you, if you're going to succeed at buying, I should say, and not wait another 5 years, you're going to have to understand the reality of where we are. And this is going to be very similar to 2021 and 2022, where speed really matters. So pay attention to these updates. Ask me if you have any questions ahead of time, because getting your mindset right takes time. You have to see other properties before you really know what you want. And I was just with a buyer yesterday who we saw every type of property under the sun, and it helped give him perspective as to how far his money will go. And what to expect so that he's ready to act when the right one comes. That is critical. So I would encourage you over the month of January to take that time to get ready, to look at what's out there, to have conversations, to ask questions, so that you're ready and you don't lose out, because there's a big difference. If you act quickly, you have the chance of avoiding competition. If not, you may, and I'm not saying this is going to happen all over the place, but there's a chance you may end up bidding against another buyer. And some people want nothing to do with that. I understand. But if there's a way to avoid that, and I'm telling you there is, more often than not, you would be wise to take that. So study up now, educate yourself. Through all the content that I put out, we can meet directly, whatever's best for you, but get yourself ready so you can end up saving yourself some money and stress in the long run, by not bidding against other buyers. So price wise, again, I think we should see things continue back to normal in January for condos. When we look at these charts, single families will still flutter around that 1.5, and days on market are going to stay very, very low as always. So that's it for this month. This was hopefully quicker than normal. But if you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comments, or you can reach out to me any of the ways that you see here. I'm excited for 2024. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting year, with a lot of changes with the election, with wars. There's a lot of variables that can change things very quickly. But I'm going to help keep you informed on top of all that. So make sure you hit subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell, because I'm going to be bringing you new videos every single week about the Ocean City market to help give you the confidence to make better decisions. So that's it for now, and I will see you next time.